I cannot believe this is happening again. If you're a home buyer, you need to pay attention to how the government gets involved in real estate. It always leads to one thing. In this video, I'm going to discuss exactly what that means. So if you're interested in what my thoughts are, definitely keep watching. Hey guys, my name's Ravi and welcome back to Personal Finance with Ravi Sharma. If you're new here, smash that subscribe button because I talk about real estate, personal development, and all things financial freedom. It hasn't been long since the government announced that they're going to bring forward the home guarantee scheme that they have for first home buyers. And now, of course, we're starting to see the ripple effects of what that actually means. And the reason I'm saying I can't believe this is happening, although I can believe it because the government here in Australia absolutely loves real estate, is for you as a home buyer. If you're a first home buyer trying to find a place to live, or you're trying to invest, prices are starting to move. And I don't think it's going to slow down anytime soon because there's two factors that are playing out. Number one, the government's coming in and artificially boosting demand. And not only that, but you're also starting to see lenders pass on massive rate cuts when really the RBA isn't moving. And this has happened before, and what leads after that is absolutely crazy. So let's dive into exactly what's happening, what happened last time, and where I think the market's headed. And of course, I'm going to conclude everything with my thoughts. Official economic modeling from the Reserve Bank shows a jump in home prices in response to changes in the first home buyer guarantee, although this is expected to slow in the medium term as new housing supply is added. From 1st October, the first home buyer guarantee will offer unlimited places and remove income caps on participants. It'll also raise price caps on eligible properties to better reflect median property values around the country. The home guarantee scheme essentially allows first home buyers to secure home loans with deposits as low as 5% without needing to pay lenders' mortgage insurance. Now here's where it gets crazy. The RBA, who have a building full of economists, and yes, we all have our opinion about what they do and what they don't do, but they've come out and they've modeled out exactly what this means for housing prices. On Monday, the Reserve Bank acknowledged changes to the home guarantee scheme will bring forward first home buyer purchases as well as increase the borrowing capacity of first home buyers. The price question was raised when RBA officials, including Governor Michelle Bullock, fronted the House Standing Committee on Economics in Canberra. When questioned on whether the expanded program would increase home values, Ms. Bullock deferred to Assistant Governor Brad Jones, who said there would be an upward pressure on house prices in the short term. This is recognizing the first home buyers account for about 20% of flow of new credit, Dr. Jones said. Now we know that house prices are closely linked to the availability of credit. And what they're suggesting is 20% of the new credit flow that gets created in a market is accounted by first home buyers. Now, of course, you have investors, you have owner occupiers, and they may not necessarily be first home buyers. While this is only going to increase first home buyer activity, there are some other stuff that the banks are doing to actually increase investor opportunities. So the question is, how much will the prices move according to the RBA? The RBA officials didn't give an indication of how far home prices would rise in response to the HGS changes, only that housing credit volumes would rise. Australian Treasury modelling expects home prices to rise 0.5% in total over 6 years from the expanded scheme. The federal government has also cited this figure, although other estimates put the price hike much higher. To think that this is only going to affect prices by 0.5% in total over 6 years is complete garbage, and it goes back down to the same saying, and I'm sorry if someone from the RBA is watching, I have no idea why they have so many economists trying to figure out what's happening and still make massive mistakes. This modeling looks like dog shit, and it's because the reality doesn't meet what you learn in the books. And this is something that you've learned over time, hopefully by now, and if you haven't, you're about to see it play out. If you're simply relying on data to give you the full picture, you're missing out on the narrative and consumer behavior. Although people will try and buy with logic, it's the emotions that trigger those things. So if you're only looking at this and saying, well, based on my calculations, I should get 0.5% increases, that is completely off the mark. And that's purely because you're only focusing on small numbers based on this subset. That's why you see some suburbs in regions that will outperform best places in Australia, even though that region actually calms down in pricing. Now, the Insurance Council of Australia commissioned modelling that showed the expanded HGS would see national property prices rise between 3.5% to 6.6% in 2026 and for several years afterwards. In dollar terms, that would see a home valued at $800,000 cost a first home buyer an additional $28,000 to $58,800. In entry-level homes targeted by first home buyers, it's predicted the impacts will be much greater, with price jumps between 5.5% to 9.9%. And I think these numbers are making a lot more sense and in reality could play out. Now here's something to think about. A lot of markets, especially the ones that we're buying in for clients, I've been buying in for myself over the last couple of months, they've started to see price increases already. And they started to see a real big uplift, especially with demand when we're talking to sales agents and looking at what's happening on the ground with property managers. We saw an uplift in demand as soon as we saw that this was coming into play the 1st of October instead of 1st of January. What's more is if you looked at these regions where the price caps were changed, you would actually go and see that there was an increase in price almost overnight. And that's exactly what happened in 2021 and 2022 when we saw the home builder schemes come into play, and it was suggested that, hey, this is going to help a lot of people go out and build more homes, and they're going to go and be able to afford to build more homes. What really happened, and I'm not even kidding you, sales agents went overnight and tried to change the description and the listing. Some people tried to move so quickly, they changed the listing price, but they had the price in the description as well. And in the description, it was about 20K less. Guess how much the home builder scheme actually was giving? About $20,000. So what I'm suggesting is that as soon as this news comes out, when the government comes out and suggests this is what's going to happen and this is how we're going to artificially prop up the market, the sales agents and everyone in between are going, well, that's fantastic. We're going to absorb this up front. And so what artificially happens is, again, the people that can buy now actually benefit. The second group of people that can benefit is when the grant opens and you're able to buy. And then the third group is the ones that are actually buying. But I would go on to say that they're buying now when the prices are much, much higher and they're artificially propped up as well. So while on the surface it looks like first home buyers are winning, it can actually be a double-edged sword. And this is why it takes critical thinking to think what's actually happening and are they just buying my votes? Now, SQM Research Managing Director Louis Christopher recently shared his thoughts on the impact of the scheme on Twitter. Well, with the 2008 and 2009 first home owners boost scheme, housing prices rose by 18% within 12 months of its launch, noting we had rate cuts at the same time. Seems pretty similar to what's happening now. I think this package is bigger than the 2009 scheme. And sure enough, we have had recent rate cuts. Perhaps those cuts won't be as large as 2008, 2009. But this, with its generous higher caps on prices, not means tested, etc., is going to almost certainly mean a massive surge in demand, and that's going to happen soon. With this being the commentary of one of the best and most prominent property experts in the country, it should be a cause of concern. Now, I've spoken to Louis Christopher on a podcast before, and what I found was he was actually one of the only guys that I found was quite conservative, but also quite balanced in his opinion. And so he comes up with a boom and bust report, and the numbers aren't as important, but his logic and thinking are very clear. And what we can see here is the same hypothesis I've had, and that's why I invest so much into real estate in Australia. Now, once that changes, yes, of course, my strategy has to change. But what we've seen is time and time again, the Australian government will go and prop up the market, and then you got banks making so much money off the back of it. Now, what you're also seeing is the final piece to the puzzle. Now, if you've liked the video so far, if you smash that like button, it's gonna help the algorithm push this out to more people that I think are oblivious to what's actually happening. Hopefully they click onto the video and watch it as well. And if you're new here, you should definitely subscribe because I'm bringing out videos every single week. And mind you, I've been documenting the entire real estate market since 2020 lockdowns. And I used to go live. And so you can go back in time and watch all those videos as well. It's pretty entertaining and pretty depressing if you didn't buy property back then. Now I think we're at a crossroads again because the banks are now coming out and reducing their interest rates. Last week I came out on the channel and said Macquarie Bank has changed all their rates and it's across owner-occupiers and investors. Now what we have is AMP cutting fixed rates for investors on its professional package by up to 15 basis points, while owner-occupier interest-only rates drop by 0.1%, so about 10 basis points. And now you've got CBA coming out trying to match it with Macquarie, who are absolutely eating up the market. And they've changed their interest rate for the 2-year fixed rate to below 5%. It's been a pretty wild experience over the last couple of years, seeing interest rates go up, and now they're starting to head back down. When you think about the combination of all these things, tell me what your thoughts are in the comments down below around what you think prices could stack up as. The RBA thinks it's going to be 0.5%. You've got other committees and economists thinking it's 10%. And then you've got someone like Louis Christopher thinking it's about 18%. I want to know where you guys land with it. And if you've enjoyed this video, subscribe if you haven't already. And if you need help with any of this stuff, buying property, investing in property specifically to retire filthy rich, then I'm going to leave a link in the description box below to the buyer's agency and of course the mortgage brokers that our clients use as well. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Thanks guys.